Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Art of MMA. I'm Mike Ginn. That's the mechanic, Brandon Cuttino, back again for another jam-packed episode. We're talking Bellator 284, the Yamauchi show. We're going to go ahead and talk about PFL 8 and everything from the fallout of that. What's up with Rory MacDonald now? We'll talk about Marlon, Vera, and Dominick Cruz at UFC San Diego. Of course, we'll make our picks for PFL 9. We know how Brandon loves Kayla Harrison. So we'll talk about that today. And then UFC 278 before we get out of here. And then in Battleground, Brandon, we got your favorite subject, Aljamain Sterling. So we'll talk about that. Is he the redheaded stepchild of the UFC? His words, not mine, but he might have some truth to that. Mm-hmm. Before we go and get all of that, let's take care of some business. FightersFirst.shop. Let our apparel be a part of your story. Brandon's rocking the classic old school Art of MMA shirt. I got the brand new one. You can't go wrong. Rock one of them, support the show, support the brand. Of course, get the mechanic collection, because who doesn't love some tune-up crew stuff? So go ahead and get into all that. Brandon, it is officially football season, so I do miss Sergio this time of year when we would start talking Giants right off the bat. How you feeling right now?
Feeling good, man. You know, one game in, we got the W, so it's always good. I know it's preseason, but, hey, you know, it's always good to still get a W no matter what, if it's preseason or regular season.
I mean, yeah, and then we pissed Bill Belichick off by blitzing more than anybody ever has. Not that we really ever got to the quarterback the whole game, but we tried.
Yeah.
we tried. First preseason game, it is what it is. Learn some stuff, fix some stuff, keep on moving, get healthier. But also, speaking in New York, your boy went and just shook up the entire world of MMA. Shane Burgos signed with PFL. He had flirted with him the last time he was a free agent. This time he signed the deal. UFC declined the match because it was such a big deal. I got to tell you, we talked about this offline. I think this is a huge deal for MMA. They've signed Anthony Pettis. They've signed Rory MacDonald, Fabricio Werdum. These are guys that were on towards the end of their careers.
Oh, don't forget about your boy Jeremy Stevens, man.
Yeah, that guy too. But these are guys towards the end of their career that had runs in different promotions, UFC, Bellator, so on and so forth. This is a guy in his prime, 15-3, can go and make some noise with Chris Wade and Bubba Jenkins and all these guys in that featherweight division. And he even talked about lightweight as well.
Yep.
What does Shane Burgos mean signing with the PFL? Like, what's that mean for MMA?
Yeah, man, like I always said on the show,
did you know this was coming?
No, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't.
I never know if I believe you about that.
I didn't know. But no, I mean, it's like I tell you guys, like I've been saying forever on the show, man, prize fighters, man. Prize fighters. You got to go where the money is. And, hey, he even said, he was like, this is too good of a deal, you know, to get paid. Like he said, you know, he have to go home, look at his two daughters every time and be like, hey, was this worth it? And hey, like you said, man, the PFL made him a nice deal, and he basically said, like, after I think Ariel asked him, like, for like one fight in the PFL, he would have to have multiple fights in the UFC to make up what it is that he's getting paid. And I think he said, even if all goes well and he was to, you know, have the fights, win the $1 million, he would basically be a multimillionaire. So, hey, you know, he's doing his thing. Kudos to Shane. Like I said, I think this is just. Again, like I think even with Rory MacDonald, with Anthony Pettis coming over, now with Shane, you know, Burgos coming over, I think it's just letting people know that, hey, like you don't always have to be
in the
UFC. You know, like the UFC isn't the end all be all. You know, like say, like, you know, people have gone over to Bellator, they've gotten their money. They said, hey, you know, it's good over here. You know, got your Benson Hendersons, you know, your Ryan Baders, all those guys like that.
And Corey Anderson.
Yeah. And Corey Anderson, you know, so to me, it's like, again, it's like people want to talk about, you know, us as being pro wrestling fans. You think about back in the day, the Monday Night Raws, you know, WCW, WWE, man, this is how people get paid, you know, because people want to keep talent and they gotta shell out the money.
Yeah, man, I gotta tell you, I think exactly what you said. This means a lot for free agency. This is now PFL's like, we're a destination. They threw a multi-million-dollar offer at Cyborg to try to get that Kayla Harrison fight.
Did they really though? Did they really?
I believe they. I think they did.
I think it was just a tweet. It was just the tweet because Cyborg went on. Cyborg went on. She said she hasn't heard a thing, and then after her interview with Ariel, that's when that tweet came out. And it was just a tweet.
I believe. Look, I know a little bit about Don Davis. He's from my backyard. I'm from Northern Virginia, DC. PFL is located in Great Falls, Virginia, right there in Northern Virginia, out in the suburbs. Don Davis is a business dude. And his goal when he took PFL is that he wanted to do this thing differently, but he also wanted to eventually become a UFC. He wanted to be a big boy. They wanted to go to pay-per-view next year. This is the last season Kayla's doing the tournament, the season, and then she's going to the pay-per-view model next year. She'll be one of the headliners, obviously, on whenever they do. When you got Shane Burgos, a fighter in his prime, who is coming in for the season next year, they've already announced the 2023 season. That sends a message to everybody else that, hey, now there's a third person you can negotiate with. Now, like Don Davis, whether he threw millions to Cyborg or not, who knows? We know, first of all, I don't know what's up with Cyborg. That's a whole different conversation for a different day because she's fighting basically a tomato can in boxing. Like she took an easy boxing fight when she was supposed to be talking to Katie Taylor and everybody else. She took an easy fight.
Yeah, she's going to get this dub, and then she's going to go back to talking with Katie Taylor.
She's going to get her money. She can get her money, and I'm not mad at her for it. She can get her money. But Kayla's sitting there stuck in PFL because they matched her contract, and she's pushing them to make PFL a mega promotion because you're like, okay, you paid millions of dollars to keep me. Now you go make it worth it. And if she's the one putting her foot in their ass, more power to it because it's working. Because they went out and signed Shane Burgos to a big deal, and that even though Shane is not a champion, he's a tremendous fighter in his prime, 15-3, and Shane signals to other fighters, you're not just negotiating Bellator and UFC. There's another guy right over here, PFL, it's coming up fast. And they also have an ESPN contract. You're also on national television. I think UFC doesn't lose anything by losing to Shane Burgos. No offense to Shane. I love Shane. But we talk about this sometimes on Crossing Borders where international fighters, whether it's Mexico, Japan, China, you name it, right? They grow up wanting to be in the UFC. It's like international people in wrestling. They grow up wanting to be in WWE, WWF, right? That's what they saw as a kid. They don't get the AEWs. They don't get as much of the Bellators and the PFLs overseas in Mexico and Brazil. They get the UFC and they get WWE and they want to be part of that big dream. And we saw it this week with, Yasmin Hadigi. We saw it with the Contender Series, fighters like Eric Silva and stuff. They want to be part of the UFC. So they're not losing anything. What this does is send a message to American fighters and American free agents that have already done the UFC dream. Now there's another place. And I think this is a huge deal. So congrats to Shane Burgos. I see Brandon's face. I'm talking too long. It's cool. We're going to go ahead and hop into the show. Tell us the thoughts below. What do you think about Shane going to PFL? Is that a big deal? Are we overhyping it? I don't think we are. I think the whole MMA world is kind of excited about this. All right, Brandon. Last week, we both went 4-3-2. I didn't count the Rory MacDonald fight as a change of opponents. PFL went through a bunch of changes because of visa issues. But somehow we both ended up 4-3-2. So Brandon still got the slight edge on me in the picks. So I'm going to see if I can make it up later in this show with a couple more cards to pick from. But Brandon, we're starting off Bellator 284. You went with Gracie. I went with Yamauchi. I told you when Yamauchi's on TV, he's must see for me, bro. I love this dude. He's so much fun, so exciting. He can do anything. I did not expect him to go full gladiator and put his head down and start taking the punches on top of the head. Like, what's his name? What was the dude? Or not Gladiator. Yeah, it was Gladiator, right? The boxing movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Brian.
I don't know the actor's name, but
yeah, the older guy. Like he would like put his head and he like broke his hands on his forehead. I didn't expect him to do that. But what did we see in that main event? What happened?
I mean, well, I know this. Neiman Gracie was doing well in the first round. I gave him the first round. I think what was so crazy was like, I really want to say like in that first round, I thought Gracie was doing more kicking than Yamaguchi really was. So I thought that was very interesting. But then like I think Yamaguchi knew he was down in the after the first round, and in the second round he kind of picked it up, and that's when, like I said, I think he baited Gracie in. He was basically begging him to hit, And then he timed it when Gracie was step forward with the jab. He basically did a step back, boom, caught him with that uppercut to the chin, and he just folded him, and that was it. And he already knew he was out, and he didn't even have to hold up. I'm sorry, he held up on the follow shot because
he jumped on top of him, but the ref was quick to get in there.
Yeah, he already knew Gracie was done. So, but yeah, man, I mean, kudos, man, to Yamaguchi, man. He did his thing. Like I said, it definitely was an exciting finish. But yeah, like I said, let's see what's next for him.
Man, that fight was so much fun because, like you said, Gracie was winning. Gracie was doing what he was supposed to do. It's just in that second round, all of a sudden, Yamauchi just went nuts. He lost, he's like, I don't give a shit no more. Hit me. And then he timed it, like you said. And Gracie fell for it. Gracie got dropped. And at the end of the day, now we got another contender, at that 170-pound division. And I don't even know. They haven't updated the rankings yet, as far as I know, for welterweight, because also Yamauchi fights at lightweight too, right?
No, he permanently moved up to 170 now. So now he's 170. As
of the current rankings, they still have Gracie at number 5. I got to think Yamauchi jumps way up in there. Michael Page obviously is taking the BKFC fight with
Mike Perry.
Perry. Lima just lost. Jackson's obviously next in line for if they don't get the Storley Amosov fight to unify it. And there's some other guys, Crutchmer and Korshkov and stuff like that. But Yamauchi, like I said, every time I watch this dude, he's just a fun fight. And Gracie, he'll probably just hang around. Like I said last week, I think he's more of a gatekeeper now for the division. And, you got to go through Gracie to move up to the top 5.
Yeah.
Also, lackluster, talk about no contest. Moldavsky, Steve Mowry, eye poke in the first round. Ended that fight. Not much to talk about there. Hopefully they run it back sometime soon so we get some kind of definitive. I didn't realize there was such a size difference in those two guys, though.
Wasn't it like 6'8",
Mowry's so much smaller?
6'5"?
Yeah, I mean, but
6'4"?
Mowry looked way smaller than that, compared to him. It was just crazy. One thing I do want to talk about outside of the main event and co-main event, obviously we'll get to Brandon's pick. I know he wants to talk about some Deanna Bennett, but Aljamain McFarland said this probably was going to be her last fight. She did get the split decision win, but then afterwards she came out and said she wants to fight her good friend Liz Carmouche for the title in a retirement fight. What do you think of that?
I mean, that's what she said her dream would be to fight Liz Carmouche for the title and beat Liz Carmouche and retire as champion. I mean, hey, like you said, man, being a fighter, man, it can mess with you. Like I said, she was 11-0. She was the champion. She was undefeated, and boom, she had a loss, and then it's hey, how do you bounce back from a loss? Then she had a second loss, and that's when people will start kind of start saying like, oh, hey, she's not for real, or blah, this and that. And this fight kind of let her know that, hey, she's still in it. She still loves it. She still has a passion for it. So I think she maybe still has 3 or 4 fights, I think, left on her contract. So, I mean, she wants to probably fight this contract out and see what happens after that.
I think Liz Carmouche is probably a better matchup because Liz will try to grapple with her. But I think Liz's hands are way better. And I think Bruna Ellen was a perfect matchup for her because Bruna Ellen wasn't going to challenge her on striking. Justine Kish, striking. Velasquez, striking. They got to her because she can't stand and bang with them.
I remember too, Liz Carmouche is a training partner of hers as well.
Yeah, no, they both fight a team. Yeah, come out, Team Hurricane, awesome. Manolo Hernandez, Alex Soto, all that stuff we talked about. And it's rare to see teammates want to that's how we want to go out. But I think Liz Carmouche is a level above. That's just my personal opinion, and I love Aljamain McFarland. I think she's awesome, but I don't think she can fight with Liz Carmouche. I just don't see it. Maybe they know something in the gym that we don't, like you said, training partners. Also, Sarah Khan got the split decision win over Soma. I was a little suspect on that decision. I don't know about you. Do you think it's a good call?
I think it was a either or.
It was close enough. Yeah. Made my heart feel warm. Aaron Jeffrey with the TKO over Austin Vanderford. I mean, he's still going to go home and be happy. Look what he goes home to. So he's fine. I was wrong. I said I could be wrong. I thought, Breno and Josh Hill was going to be a great fight. Breno came and just basically took over that one. Josh Hill might have gotten around in there, but Marcos Breno looked good. What happened to the Deanna Bennett, Justine Kish fight?
I mean, man, Deanna Bennett just did her thing. Like, I think Justine Kish, I know it was where I know it was a close fight, but I think I had Deanna Bennett winning the first 2 rounds. I think I maybe gave Justine Kish the last round.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but yeah, it was. I mean, Deanna Bennett got the job done. Let's see what happens next for her. I mean, I would love it if she would get the title shot, but I think Velasquez is probably going to get the rematch.
Yeah, I think they're already setting that up.
Yeah. So we shall see. But I mean, again, like I was so surprised that they went with this fight. But hey, I'm just glad that Deanna Bennett, she got the job done.
You also have to remember there's also Kana Watanabe there, Denise Kihos, all ranked higher. Maybe she can match up with Artigue. Maybe she can match up with McFarland. We're talking about fights to kind of make to match up. If she's waiting for Carmouche, McFarland wants to stay busy. That might be a good fight. And if you beat a former champion, it looks a lot better going for a title shot, right? So, also, Cawley got the KO over Jeffries in the first round. Big time knee. That was awesome. Downey over Nelson submission. Schoenfelder got the win over Courier by submission, rear naked choke. McKee over Ortega with a TKO in the second round. In an amateur fight actually on the card, Ya got the win over by unanimous decision. Pretty good fun night of Bellator. It's rare they go first on the week. Like we normally expect them in the middle, like PFL, Bellator, UFC. But they went first this week. PFL's been going head to head with the UFC. I don't know. Well, I mean, different times, but still same day. But it was a fun card. What'd you think of Bellator?
Yeah, man. I mean, you did go over that one fight, but I mean, we can't not leave this card without talking about was it Pat Downey? I want to make sure I say his first name right. Pat Downey. Choke. Yeah, this guy. I mean, everybody wants to talk about Bo Nichols, but Pat Downey lost to Bo Nichols. I think in a wrestling match. I think for the Olympics. So Pat Downey is right there. So yes, Bo Nichols was on Dana White's Contender Series, did his thing, but Pat Downey, man, dude, that fight was over in 20 seconds. He has a following. He can talk.
I mean, it was his pro debut.
Huh?
It was his pro debut.
Yep, exactly. So I'm saying if he can back it up, and just go through people, I think Bellator has himself another star right there.
I mean, it's one of those cases they tend to find, the Aaron Picos and stuff like that, AJ McKee's. This guy's 30 years old, making his pro debut. He's, like you said, he's been a wrestler. He's been on a bunch of stuff. He's got the pedigree. We'll see if he can make it happen, He beat Keys Nelson, made it quick. See what's next for him in that middleweight division. But I think it'll be a few fights before we actually see any kind of, whether he is or isn't. I'm sure Scott will feed him a few wins here and there. But that is Bellator 284. Of course, always leave a comment. Let us know your favorite parts of the show. Moving on, PFL 8 2022 playoffs, the second night of the playoffs. This time they were in Wales. They were supposed to have Rory MacDonald versus Umatov, but instead we got Dilano Taylor. Both Umatov and Golstov got denied visas because they're Russian fighters and they're not allowed into the UK because of the whole Ukraine situation. So they were not allowed to get visas. I think that's something they should have probably cleared up a long time ago, Brandon, not just the week of the fight. But, hey, Dilano Taylor stepped up, made an impact. We also had Delia versus Ferreira and a bunch of great fights that night. Let's start in the main event, Brandon. MacDonald versus Dilano Taylor. What happened?
And man, Dilano Taylor came out, saw this was his opportunity, just kind of like how Stevie Ray did the prior week before, and he just came out, let those hands go, and got the job done. Even in the build up for this fight, right, when they were doing the promo video, I think even Dilano Taylor was kind of basically say Rory MacDonald's a legend, he's done all these things, but he doesn't really want to be in here. And I mean, Dilano Taylor kind of showed that. He was like, yo, Rory don't want to be here, so I'm going to help him leave. And that's what he did. put him out first round.
I mean, the dude's no joke. The only loss he has in PFL is to Magomed Kamiro.
Yep.
That's not a bad loss. You're gonna lose to somebody. That's who you lose to, right? Came in on short notice. I think that was the biggest question. They both actually trained at Sanford, which is also another thing. I was kind of shocked for him to be the one taking the fight, but he didn't take any back down. He's like, all right, I'll fly over there. I'll take this fight. And now all of a sudden he's in the finals for $1 million on the line.
Yeah.
Rory MacDonald, after the fight, the next day or whatever, he retired from the sport. So thank you, Rory. But I almost wanted I hate to say this about a fighter. Damn, this feels like I took my ball and went home. Because Rory's only 33. He did it in the UFC when he went to Bellator, right? Like he didn't like he never was going to fight GSP because that was his training partner. And he was like, all right, cool, I'm going to go to Bellator to make my name for this. But then he didn't, right? He had like a 2-2 career in Bellator. Then he's like, all right, well, I'm going to go to PFL and get this $1 million. But he didn't 2 years in a row. And now all of a sudden, you're talking about a guy that as successful as Rory MacDonald's been in his career, he's lost 4 out of 5 fights. The only person he beat recently was Brett Cooper.
Yeah, beat the brakes off of him too.
Yeah, big time win. We thought, oh, okay, Rory's back. But if your only 2 wins since 2020, 2019 are Curtis Millender and Brett Cooper, but you've lost to T-Bow, Cooper, Sy, and Taylor, yeah, maybe you should go retire because he's clearly not the fighter he was. I think he's still a very good fighter. But I don't know. What do you think of this whole retirement?
I mean, hey, man, the man's been in some wars. I say, though, those Robbie Lawler fights, those Douglas Lima fights took some time, off of him with the wear and tear. Like I said, I don't think he really kind of ever was the same after those fights. So I mean, also too, before, man, when he was on his heyday, where was he training at? He was training at 5-Star, hanging out. TriStar. He was hanging out in Canada, and then boom, he moved to Sanford. I mean,
he only moved to Sanford because of the pandemic, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe that's why I'm saying why maybe his PFL run, different team, coaches, everything like that. Maybe those guys at TriStar were able to get more out. Maybe they have better game plans. Everything is different.
I don't think he's done. I'll say this much. Whether it's PFL, Bellator, maybe it's a year off. Maybe he just takes some time off. The guy's been fighting since 2006. He's fought, 16 years professionally. I understand that. It's been a long time. But he's still only 33 years old. I don't think he's done. I think he's going to take a break, recharge his batteries, and try again somewhere else. We'll see. I don't know. We shall see. Co-main event, both of us were on Ante Delia over Renan Ferreira, and it showed Ferreira might be the bigger dude, but you can see who had the most heart, right? When he got on top of him, you could just see Ferreira. Will, what'd you think?
Hey, man, it was a wrap, dude. Once he got on top, man, he threw those bungalows, man. He was trying to end it, and that's what he did. You see the emotion on his face after dude was bawling his eyes out. Crow Cop comes out hugging him. It looked like Crow Cop was crying too. Big moment for him. Dude's about to fight for $1 million, man. I don't blame him.
He doesn't have to fight Bruno this time.
Yep.
Because Bruno had a slip up, so no Bruno. Instead, he's going to be fighting Matthew Sheffield, who had to win over Juan Adams, another late replacement because of Goldstoff. He came out and knocked out Juan Adams, so now the heavyweight is Delia versus Sheffield. And honestly, I mean, we got a few weeks before we have to decide that one. But I don't know which way I'm leaning. Which way are you leaning on that one?
I'm probably gonna go with the Croatian man out here. I'm not gonna lie.
No, man, Sheffield knocked out here,
man. He's hanging out with Crow Cop. I think I might have to pick. I mean, plus two, he was in the.
He don't kick like Crow Cop.
I mean, and plus two, wasn't he in the finals last year as well? So, I mean, he's going back to back finals. You kind of got to go with the guy. He kind of has that pedigree. To me, like you say, he doesn't have to deal with Bruno. So I'm thinking that this is his season, his year.
Man, a heavyweight title fight is going to be a battle. I'm looking forward to that one. Seta Busai got the win over Carlos Leal. That was a good fight. He got the decision. He'll be fighting Taylor now for the welterweight final. Nate Kelly over Ben Ellis. I took a chance on Ben Ellis in my pick. I was wrong. Nate Kelly showed me why he is going to be in that featherweight tournament next year. Hope he doesn't have to run into Shane Burgos, though. I'm just saying. Lee Chadwick with the win over Masila. Fury over Solomon. Maxim over your boy Barbaric. That pick you got wrong, but it was a knee injury. And it's just unfortunate, the way things go sometimes, but it happened. And Maxim is the one now that's going to be in the tournament next year at lightweight. We had another accidental eye poke between Ben Casey and Nuzzi. That was another no contest, this one in the second round. And I was kind of confused because I thought it went long enough to go to a decision, but I guess not. Josh O'Connor got the win over Sakadaza. Submission. Wolchik over Stanton, submission. Maxon versus Steinberg, decision. That was a split decision. And then heavyweights, Bajor and Marks, decision. Surprised to see Ronnie Marks fighting all the way up at heavyweight. But I guess he's trying to, take whatever fight he can get at this point. But he lost again, which has been kind of a downside. Ronnie Marks used to be one of my favorite fighters a few years back. But things have changed. Any final thoughts on PFL? What are we expecting going into some of these finals?
I think they had a good first card in Europe. So let's see how this coming week goes as well. Since they want to expand with PFL Europe.
I'll tell you, I'm excited for heavyweight. I'm excited to see Cy and Taylor go at it too. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be a fun fight. All right, that is PFL number 8. The last card we got to give our reactions to before we move on with everything else today is a big card, Brandon. UFC San Diego, Chito Vera, Dominick Cruz. We had some fight of the year candidates in Nate Landwehr and David Onama, Yasmin Howdigi and Yasmin Lucindo. This card from top to bottom was exciting. Very few questionable things. You had some split decisions. You're like, I could have gone this way, that way. But for the most part, a lot of finishes, a lot of fun stuff. Let's start in that main event. UFC San Diego, Chito Vera got the win, got the stoppage late 4th round against Cruz. What you think of that fight?
It was a good fight. I had Dominick Cruz up, winning, looking good, looking sharp.
Did you have winning every round?
Me personally, I did. I
gave the third to Vera.
Yeah, I mean, I know the 3rd round was close, but I think I did give the edge to Cruz, but I
just wanted to know if you were on the Henry Cejudo train.
No, but I could give people, giving the 3rd round to Vera, so it is what it is. But like I said, I still had Cruz up. He was looking good, looking sharp, and then boom, man, he just got caught. Chito timed it. Cruz basically went right into the round kick, and he was put out.
I thought early in the fight, remember I said last week, I was like, I think Vera's the one dude that won't back up and wait for Cruz to dance around, right? He'll just go right at him. And he did in the first couple rounds. He couldn't land his leg kicks, which I said was going to be a difference maker. Even he said it, Cruz just wasn't there when I went to go land the leg kick. He just wasn't there. But I thought in the 3rd round, things started shifting. I thought you saw more Vera going forward, all right, I'm done waiting. I need to go get this or I'm going to lose this fight. And he caught Cruz a couple times. And I think that gave him the confidence going in the 4th round. It's all right, now I just got to time it. And he did. He caught him with that kick, took Cruz's nose and went. Mm-hmm. Just an insane finish to that fight. And now we're stuck with wondering what's next for Chito Vera, right? Because he's in a very crowded situation with a lot of people that don't really want to fight him. I don't think Sterling's got Dillashaw, so that's taken care of. Jan and O'Malley got to deal with their business. Sandhagen's getting ready to fight. Merab's fighting this weekend. All those fighting this weekend. So he's stuck kind of waiting. Well, sorry about my camera glitching. I thought we fixed this camera. Stop that. Anyway, what do you think's next for Chito?
I mean, he just has to wait and see. Like I said, they're everybody else is.
He said he'd fight Frankie Edgar. What about that?
He already fought Frankie Edgar.
I know, but Frankie wants to retire. He said, I'll fight him again. I'll fight him.
Yeah. No, I would probably see Dominick Cruz fighting Frankie Edgar at MSG.
That'd be awesome.
So, that's what I would lean towards. But I think Chito just has to wait. Everybody else ahead of him, or around him is already booked up. So he just has to wait and see who else gets the W.
You think he gets the winner of Aldo and Merab?
I don't know. He could get the winner of the Sandhagen fight. Like I don't. What I'm saying, I don't know what what the matchmakers are thinking, because I'm saying there's so many options. Plus two. How are people looking after their fight? Are they banged up? Are they fresh? They good to go? So I think it's all just a wait and see type of deal.
I think the bantamweight division is so tightly bunched up in the matchmaker's mind, right? Sean Shelby has Sandhagen fighting Song Yadong. That's a 4-10 matchup. Like, it no longer, like, because everybody's so close. You got Jack Shore and Umar Nurmagomedov, both like rising stars coming up real quick. You got Sean O'Malley, 13, fighting Peter Yan, who's number 1. So I don't think rankings matter as much in the bantamweight division, because in the matchmakers' minds, they're so close. Everybody's so close. And Vera's gotten up to number 5. I think logically, Aldo 3, Merab 6, whoever wins that fight, a week apart from the last fight, they're on a timetable together. They could probably match up in December or something like that. I think that's something that might work out, personally. Dominick Cruz, I love the idea of what you just said with him and Frankie Edgar. I've also heard Dominick and Sean O'Malley going chirping back and forth. I've heard Ricky Simone say he would fight Frankie Edgar. I also heard Ricky Simone say he'd fight everybody. So that's another guy that's jumping up the rankings real fast. Interesting thoughts on that one. Over in the co-main event, we had Nate Landwehr and David Anama. Landwehr got the majority decision. Personally, I ruled it a draw when I looked at it. And that's only because I gave the 10-8 in the second round. The person that gave a 10-7, or however the hell they did it to get 30-27, or what was it? No. One of the judges did it like real weird. But personally, I thought Onama won 2 of the 3.
28-28 and 29-27, the other 2 judges.
Yeah, and I personally thought Onama won 2 of the 3 rounds, but I could see a draw because of the 10-8 second round. What did you think of this craziness? Because that fight was insane.
I actually had Lanier winning. I actually gave him the second and the third. So that's how I saw it. Like, say, that second round 10-8, and that third round was close. But to me, I thought Lanier was doing his thing. He almost did get caught and they get put to sleep. But he would wrap up his opponent, hold them, stall, and then make space. But I had gave him the third round, so I actually thought he did win the fight. But I can see where people are seeing the third round, not for him. But like I said, I'm not a judge, but that's what I saw.
I just thought it was close enough of a round, and the way that Onama ended the round, stole the round. That's just me. But, I can see both ways. I think that was a fight of the year candidate. I think that fight was crazy. Both guys were taking turns, damn near putting each other out. From a fight fan's point of view, maybe not for their health, but from a fan's point of view, that fight was awesome. That's not one of those fights the fans were yelling boring, because that fight was rock'em sock'em robot. So great fight. My fight pick, Yasmin Jauregui. Look, I told y'all she's going to be a champion. She had her struggles with Lucindo, but Lucindo came to fight. Lucindo's 20 years old. Jauregui is 23. These 2 women will be in that division fighting. They might fight again one day. That fight was incredible. What you think of that King of Lady fights? You got to give me.
Man, it was a good fight. It was definitely a good fight. Definitely exciting. Like I said, they were the leading candidate for a fight of the night until the next happened. Fight. Yeah, exactly. And then took it from them. But no, both ladies brought it. It was a good fight. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what their future holds.
Yeah, look, one was more Jauregui was more technical. Lucindo was more powerful, and at the end of the day, the technical won. Third round looked like Lucindo was slowing down a little bit, but just a fantastic fight. Both these women have a very big future in the UFC, in my opinion. It's a shame one of them had to lose and kind of like take a step back, but both of them, they skipped Dana White's Contender Series for a reason. They're ready right now. You can see it might be in the third fight on the card, right?
Yep.
Also, Murskinov got the win over Devin Clark. That body shot, wow. He kept headhunting, and then he caught him with that body, and Clark just folded. Kuchera got the win over Lipsky. Like we said, we never know which Lipsky's going to show up, but I think that was more of Priscilla Kuchera continuing to finish opponents and finish them fast. I think that was more of a compliment to Kuchera.
Yeah, man. She caught her, and she kept on going.
Meerschaert with the big submission over Silva. Your girl Angela Hill finally got a win over Godinez. That was a really good fight back and forth. Boudet with the split decision over Brzeski. As Boudet said, he had to go to plan B to get it done, but he did. I actually thought Cynthia Calvillo beat Nunes in my opinion, but it was so close. I'm not mad at that split decision. What do you think?
I did have Nunes winning the fight. I just thought she had did just a little bit more, and I had just gave her the edge. But hey, she retired afterwards. So kudos to her and her career. Like I said, she kind of just did this as a hobby, and she took this hobby all the way to the UFC. So I mean, shout outs to her, and let her keep doing her thing. I think now as a coach.
I do think she's done because of what she said. Like you said, she wants to coach. She wants to go be a mom. And those are things that really you can't travel too much doing. So congrats to Nunes. Nice career. And she got things like you said. She lived her dream. So there you go. Benitez over Ontiveros with a TKO. Tyson Nam with a performance bonus with his knockout over Osborne. Kinlan with the knockout over Jason Witt. Zalal got the majority draw. Actually, I'm sorry. It was a majority draw. Zalal and Damon Blackshear. Any highlights on your mind from that UFC card?
Tyson Nam with the knockout, beautiful, and then Jason Witt getting put to sleep. Man, sorry, Jason Witt, but you were stiffed. Like that was like those were some fantastic knockouts.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't hand out an extra performance bonus for that one. I guess you only got so many to hand out, but Dana's done it before. I don't know why he didn't do it on that one. Kinlan deserves a performance bonus. All right, that is our reactions to all the fight cards. Time to switch gears. Go to your favorite segment, aka Battleground, where Brandon and I fight it out, see who's right, see who's wrong. I think we're gonna have different opinions this week, but Brandon, I'm not sure we're gonna have a different result because. So this week the question is Aljamain Sterling the redheaded stepchild of the UFC? His words. That's what he said. And I agree. I think he is. But there's two schools of thought, right? One, he kind of brings it on himself. He's very polarizing with his comments. He seems to have an opinion on everything. And he puts himself in the middle of all that stuff. And then you also have the controversy with the title, the illegal knee, then the close decision over Peter Yan.
That wasn't no close decision. He smacked Peter Yan up.
No, he didn't. First of all, Peter Yan won that fight.
He didn't, man.
The second fight, Peter Yan won.
He didn't win that second fight. Get out of here with that.
He absolutely did. But that's not what we're arguing about. See, we're already starting. But he went from when he first got the title from the disqualification. 100% Peter Yan's fault. Peter Yan has nobody to blame but himself. Going into that title fight, he was the baby face, if you want, of the UFC. Everybody was like, he was the underdog. He was coming up. He's fought his way to finally getting a title shot, and everybody was rooting for him. And then it happened, and everybody's like, well, was he acting? And then at first he didn't want to take the title, but then all of a sudden he's running around Vegas showing off the title. And he kind of did a heel turn, to borrow a wrestling term. He did a heel turn. What do you think of his comments, and do you agree?
As a champion, like to be the redheaded stepchild as a champion, yeah, I do agree, because I mean this is like nothing new for the UFC. All right, like you have a certain amount of champions. To me, he's basically the least liked of the champions. You know, this happened with Tyron Woodley. This used to be Kamaru Usman. You know, and then boom, things change. I think of the current champions now, Aljamain Sterling is probably the least liked of the champions. So I don't blame him for how he feels. I probably want to say this is true.
I'm sitting here looking while you're talking. I'm like, there's got to be somebody.
So I want to say, like, of the champions, he probably is the least, the least liked of them.
Is that because he hasn't had a demonstrative win? Like, he hasn't gone out and finished somebody as champion, because he's only had one title defense, and that was a very close fight. If he comes out and finishes TJ Dillashaw, does he get more respect?
I mean, hey, I already give the man his due.
I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking about his.
I'm just saying, dude. Everybody's different. Like you look.
I know you're a fanboy of Aljamain.
But you look at Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva, when he was champ, for the people that like him, he had to go on a monster win streak. Same thing with like Kamaru Usman. He had to go on a monster win streak, to get the people behind him. So. Same thing. Even like same thing. Like, I mean, like Jose Aldo. He had the flash. The flash knockouts, the finishes were coming his way. But yeah, I think it's just, as of right now, like he is the least liked champion. In the UFC. This is why he probably gets treated the way how he does. They're not really trying to blow him up. They're not really kind of giving him the promotion that he probably feels that he deserves. So. I mean, like, say, if he beats up TJ Dillashaw, a former champion, it'll definitely be another feather in his cap.
Look, I agree he's the redheaded stepchild, but I think he brings it on himself. I think he noticed before anybody. I think he noticed the fans turning on him. I think he noticed after that Peter Yan fight, the fans turning on him. And instead of running away from it, I felt like he went head on, and he was like, "All right, that's how you feel about me. Then F y'all. I'm gonna do me."
But what does that have? But again, though, that's the fans. What do the fans have to do with the UFC, though? Man, this is about
everything.
Dana White, the brass,
who pays the tickets?
How they treat
who
him,
pays
man.
the tickets? Who buys the merch? Who puts the money in their pocket? Who buys the pay-per-views?
Nah.
I think once the fans turned on him, and I think he embraced that villainous, like, heel persona, even on his podcast, even on his YouTube stuff, he embraces it. He's going head on with it. And I think the fans turned on him. And then you have Peter Yan, who was, the guy who kind of took over the mantle of bantamweight. They expected him to have a long run. He was winning that fight and had an illegal knee, took the belt. Very razor thin, close fight. No matter how you scored it in the second fight, he did not smack Peter Yan around.
He did control them, 10-8 them both times, probably second and third.
And then
round.
Peter Yan won like the last 3 rounds. Anyway, the point being that he hasn't really. He lost his humility somewhere, and I think this fight could go a long way to establishing, because, like, he's had one title defense. Love him or hate him, one defense. So, yeah, he's not highly ranked as a Davison Figueiredo who's had a war with Moreno. Alex Volkanovski, who's going through everybody, including Max, 3 times. Oliveira, who, even though he's not technically the champion, we know, has gone through Murderer's Row. Usman's earned it. Izzy's earned it. Prochaska's brand new. He's also kind of in the same boat. Let's see what happens to that rematch with Glover. Francis,
Same boat as what? Same boat as who?
As kind of Sterling as a brand new champion.
Nah, bro, please. He had 2 fights in the UFC. He got a title shot. The brass likes him. He's not a redheaded stepchild.
And Ngannou's kind of going through that redheaded stepchild kind of mode with him and Dana with the contract stuff. But he beat Ginn on 2 injured knees. Went through Stipe. I mean, he's earned it. Amanda obviously is the golden child. Carla has earned her way back up to the top after a long journey, even though that fight was the most boring fight in the entire UFC history with Rose. And then Valentina's another golden child. So that said, yeah, I think Sterling is the redheaded stepchild of the champions, definitely. But I think he kind of brings it on himself. I think he wants that. I think he's kind of embraced the bad guy role. Final thoughts?
Aljamain Sterling is gonna smack up TJ Dillashaw.
It's gonna be an interesting fight. because if he grapples with him, he'll control DJ. If they strike, TJ's going to win. It's just really where the fight goes.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and make our picks so we can get out of here for the afternoon. We got 2 fight cards to talk about. First up, PFL 9. Brandon's favorite fighter, Kayla Harrison. She's going to war with Martina Jindrova, Chris Wade, and Brendan Loughnane. 2 really good fights in the main Kona main event. They are in London, England, fighting in front of Big Ben. Let's go ahead and start off with the main event, Brandon. Does Jindrova have what it takes to upset Kayla Harrison?
No, I'm just gonna go with Kayla Harrison to getting the job done. Move on to the finals. I guess I'm gonna rock with her for now for this fight. Like I said, until she gets beaten.
The knockout over I can never say this lady's name. I'm sorry, Basil Nova. Earlier in the PFL season didn't do enough to impress you to give her a chance.
Everybody always.
And she beat your girl Vanessa Mello.
Everybody always has a chance, but I think Kayla Harrison isn't gonna try to stand up with her. She's gonna try to take her down, control her, ground and pound, or get a submission.
Yeah, I'm picking Kayla. I was playing devil's advocate, but there's no question in my mind we're going to see Kayla and Pachenko in the finals finally. But one has to take care of business, and just like the other one has to take care of business. So I'm going to take Kayla Harrison in this one. We all know the division's built around Kayla, so it's hers to lose until she does. Over in the co-main event, I am definitely excited about this one. Chris Wade, Brendan Loughnane, no love lost. They've been going at it, chipping away. War of words. Tell me who you got in this one.
I got to go with the Long Islander. I got to go with Chris Wade. Near backyard. I think he's the better fighter. Saying he has to stand up. He has the submissions as well. He also has the wrestling as well. So I think he's the better overall fighter. I think he has more tools, and I think he gets his hand raised.
Yeah, I'm going Chris Wade as well. He was in the finals last year against Belair. He's trying to make it back, just like Ante Delia. We just talked about him earlier in the show. So he's got a chip on his shoulder. And we know since he's come down to that featherweight division last year, he's been a lot better fighter. Chris Wade, I think, has more tools, especially more wrestling. So I think he can get the win over Loughnane. I think they're both just benefiting, honestly, though, that Belair didn't fight this season. Because that opened up the whole thing for a lot of other fighters, like Kudo and Jenkins, who are in the other part of this bracket. But I think Chris Wade's going to take this one. Got a lot of other great fights on this card. Which one are you really looking at?
You know what it is. Got to go with the ladies. Got to go with Pacheco getting the job done.
I thought you were going to say Ditchever and Gaber. No?
Nah. I got to go with Pacheco because I'm still saying it's going to be Harrison versus Pacheco in the finals. But I think I'm going to do just Pacheco's been on the tear. She's been finishing everybody in the first round. And I think that streak is going to continue in this fight. And he's going to put a homegirl out first round.
You're not on the feel-good story. You're not on the feel-good story for Kolznick?
Hey, man, I'm happy for her. She's getting her shine, but the feel-good story has to end, and it's going to end on Saturday.
Damn, you just gave Pachenko a new nickname, the Dream Shatterer. Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're going to see Kayla and Pachenko finally. Pachenko was it hurt last year, or did she get upset?
She missed weight.
Yeah, she missed weight. That's what it was. So we didn't see it last year. We saw it a couple years ago. Kayla got that one. See what happens this time. Got a lot of other great fights. I'm looking at Simeon Powell, man. Light heavyweight division. Him and Uveric. Simeon's 6-0. Uveric 11-5. Simeon Powell's possessed, dude. That dude has serious power. He's going to put Uveric to sleep just like he puts everybody else to sleep. So I'm rocking with Simeon Powell in that one. Also on the card, you got Kudo and Jenkins in the featherweight bracket. You got, like I said, Ditcheva undefeated going against Gaber, 4-1. So something's got to give in that one. Brandon's boy Marcin Held going against Miles Price in the lightweight division. You got Sutherland versus Balby and undefeated fighters. Odunjo versus Iverson. Taylor versus Ortoluzzi. I swear to God, Brandon, he put some of these names in here just to test me. Ruiz versus Ochegbu, Austin versus Bukachow, and Hussein Abrafara versus Chizovs. I'm just going to say Chizovs. What other fights on there? Everything lining up for a big final night for their season. What else excites you on this card?
Like I said, you already mentioned Marcin Helm, so I'm always down to watch him fight. Like I said, I've been following him since his Bellator days. So I'm definitely looking for his fight. And then also, too, the other featherweight fight with Bubba Jenkins.
Well, PFL going to battle on the 20th in London. I believe the card's going to be earlier in the day because they're over there, so we'll see. But make sure you check that out. Real quick, we're going to go through to the UFC, UFC 278, so we can get Brandon out of here for the day. He has to go teach some classes and take care of some business. So we're going to get Brandon out of here pretty quickly. UFC 278, Usman versus Edwards 2. Go ahead and start off in the main event. Who you got? Tell me why.
I'm going with Kamaru Usman. I think he's going to use his wrestling for this fight, and he's going to take Leon Edwards down, control him, and do that. Like I'm saying, I mean, I'm sure he can still stand with Leon, but to me, Leon is more known as a striker. So I don't think you want to play that game with Leon Edwards because you can get caught and you can get rocked. So that's where I think Usman's gonna go back to his wrestling, take him down, control him, ground and pound, or he gets a decision.
Look, both guys have talked about how much they've evolved since the first fight. Edwards now has wrestling defense and a little bit of grappling. Usman has striking, right? They both evolved and gotten better at what they do. I think Edwards is a kickboxer. I think he's going to try to, if he lands some of these kicks, it could be trouble with Usman. We've seen Usman get rocked early in fights, both against Burns and Masvidal. But once you get into the fight, the second, third round, then it's all Usman. So I think this fight's going to go a little while. I think Edwards could start off hot, but I think Usman's going to win, whether it's decision or probably a late finish around the fourth round. I think this is Usman's fight. I just think the matchup is all wrong. A striker versus wrestler usually favors the wrestler because eventually they're going to get on top of him and smother him. So, co-main event, I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, Luke Rockhold over Costa. I'm not even questioning it. Don't even explain why. Rockhold all day. Costa sucks. Who you got?
I too am picking Luke Rockhold as well. And that's it. I'm just gonna pick Luke Rockhold. I think his mind is in the game. And hopefully he'll get the job done.
Not very often. Brandon is more long-winded than me on a subject, but there you go. My only question is Luke Rockhold's rust. He's been out of the cage for a long time. Is he ready to go? What is your fight pick for this one? Which fight's standing out to you the most that you really want to watch?
I'm going with the ladies. Me, King of Ladies. I got to go with that Miranda Maverick fight versus Shayna Young. And I'm going with Maverick to bounce back, get the job done. Like I said, she's been looking sharp with her striking, and I think this could be a fight standing up. And I think Maverick is just gonna outstrike her.
Yeah, she's got to bounce back. She's had a couple hiccups. She wants to make a name for herself. She's got to do it. I'm looking at that right there next to the co-main, Jose Aldo and Merab Dvalishvili. It's striking versus wrestling. It doesn't get more simple than that. Jose's been turning back the clock. Can he catch Merab? We'll see. I think Merab's going to get this win because of his wrestling. He tends to be the best wrestler in all of MMA with the amount of takedowns that he gets, and he just kind of keeps doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and take Merab in that one. But I could see Jose catching him. I could see him catching him. You got to battle the heavyweights. Romanov, I think, will take care of business. That's my opinion. But he's got Tabora, who's very tough. Tyson Pedro versus Harry Hunsucker at light heavyweight. You got Leandro Santos versus Jared Gordon. Always love some Jared Gordon. Always support his story. Wu versus Pudilova in the ladies. Sean Woodson, who's on his way to the top very fast. Against Luis Saldana at featherweight. AJ Fletcher versus Ange Lusa at welterweight. You got Amir Albazi versus Francisco Figueiredo at flyweight. And then Ori versus Perrin at bantamweight. And Daniel Lasarda kicking things off against Alta Marana, which could also be an exciting fight anytime Daniel Lasarda is in action. Any final thoughts before we get out of here on that UFC card?
I'm definitely looking forward to that Sean Woodson fight as well.
Sean Woodson been talking a lot of noise. Got to back it up. He is a dangerous, dangerous man. Well, we are going to cut this short because I know Brandon's got to get out of here for the day. thank you for watching. Make sure you check out fightersfirst.shop. Go ahead and support the brand. Let our apparel be a part of your story. They support, they run everything we do. So Fighters First, that is this show, that is this entire network, Kicking It, Crossing Borders, Art of MMA, as well as the clothing line. So we are one big family. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you check out Kicking It. I believe they're back next week. More great kickboxing talk. And of course, Crossing Borders also every Monday as well. We appreciate you watching. For the mechanic, Brandon Cuttino, I'm Mike Ginn. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. This is Art of MMA, and we're out.